You're listening to Leadership Powered by Common Sense with your host, Doug Thorpe. Here's Doug.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm your host, Doug Thorpe, and you are listening to a new episode of Leadership Powered by Common Sense. Today, I've got a gentleman named EddieHill. He's from the great state of Florida, and Eddie and I have talked about some of the things he's been doing, and I'm going to let him tell his story in just a minute. But first, let me say welcome, Eddie.
Hey, Doug, thank you. And welcome. I'm glad to be on your podcast. I appreciate the opportunity. And today's not so sunny in Florida, but I'm here anyway.
There we go. Well, glad to have you. Yeah, Eddie and I talked, and we met through an effort with a national kind of entrepreneur, small business community thing that I've been working on. And he has a great story about his digital marketing company and the things he's developed for other small businesses. He has a model that goes with that, and that was one of the key things that sort of triggered my thought about this and having him on the show. So, Eddie, just give us a little bit of background, color in, how'd you get to where you are right now?
Okay. I'll give you my basic resume in hopefully 60 seconds or so. I was in radio 14 years, and I sat knee to knee, belly to belly, or face to face, and with hundreds, if not thousands, of business owners about marketing. And I'm like you, I'm an inquisitive kind of guy, so I ask questions. And it didn't take me long to learn these types of people and these types of businesses were successful. And then, of course, I sat knee to knee with a bunch of businesses. I knew they were going to go out of business within 6 months or a year. And I was pretty much always right. Because you kind of know with what they're doing, not just marketing wise, but overall in the philosophy in business and how they're doing it. So I kept asking questions. And in the end, it came down to this. Now, it's not their words. These are my words. But this is my theme. But the businesses that are successful, 100% of them, have a route or have a conduit or have a specific tactical system they use to get more people to know them. And then because they know you doesn't mean they like and trust you. But then once they know you, like and trust you, and that's them themselves as a person, but also their business. And 100% of the time, every successful business has that route. Now, I think it goes like this. It's a little more in depth. It goes like know, like, trust, try, buy, evangelize. Meaning, know, like, and trust. You got to start with that. And then you got to get them to try you. Dip their toe in the water. And then you got to get them to buy you deep. And then if you knock it out of the park and they love you, then they'll evangelize. Means they'll tell other people about you. So as I interviewed these people over the years, and I was on the radio, and I was selling, and you basically go, I'm like, man, I want to be a business owner, but I'm going to make sure that I get the basic fundamentals right. I'm going to make sure they get to know me. Now, the know part is your circle of influence, right? So how big is your circle of influence with your business or you personally? And then second part, how do they like and trust you? So formulaic is the word. And I'm a very simple guy. I can't do all these advanced things, and I'm certainly not the best at math, but I do like numbers. But I don't want to sit there and read spreadsheets all day. I just want to get to my basic. And that's what it came down to. So as I interviewed all these successful businesses, I'm like, I need to do that. So then I bought my first business, took that to a whole nother level. And that's another story. Wrote a whole book about that. And then I bought another business with my wife. It's called, like an award shop, personalization shop, and that's hers, but we've done fantastic things with that. And then I now own 2 other businesses as well. So I own 4 total, and highly successful. And it's not by accident. Again, I'm a simple guy. I'm not great at many things, but I've implemented what we call the formula, or in the ingredients of the formula. So there's my basic resume, how I got today. I do own a marketing agency because marketing is a big part of that. It's only a part of it. The rest of it, as you will know, you're very good at this, Doug. You got to have the rest in order as well. Otherwise, you'll screw up. Just because you get more people there, you'll just speed up what's going to happen. Inevitably, you'll go out of business faster by marketing, but unless you have your other stuff behind the scenes in place. So, yeah. So,
well, a lot of good nuggets there to unpack in that story. First, let's start with your sort of mantra there, the know, like, and trust. That's a phrase that's been around for a while. Our good friends in the BNI organization, that's their hallmark theme of networking. First get people to know you, then like you and trust you. So I'm going to jump real deep in the weeds right off the top here. So the bridge between knowing and liking, I want to explore that a minute.
Yeah.
I think it's fairly safe to say that a lot of people have spent good money getting their brand out to the market. When with all the different social media platforms, it's easy to start the awareness of who you are and what you are. I mean, I've got 200,000 followers combined on all my channels right now. But the real first hurdle is to get that like element going. So
Yeah.
talk to us about that. How do you think about bridging from knowing to liking?
Yeah, this is something we talk about literally in my agency, not every day necessarily, but every week for sure with every client. So this is a conversation you got to have. And, I have 17 employees in this building for just my marketing agency. And our packages that we sell is how to get more people to know you. So that's marketing, right? That could be just billboards or, it could be online marketing or pay-per-click, stuff like that. But it's also offline things like radio and TV, which I still believe in, urinal signs. Those are highly targeted, whatever, just get them to know you. But then the next conversation we have to have is get them to like you and trust you. And that is part of our packages. And how we do that, and I'll be very specific now, is exactly. The concept is people do business with people, and then I stop there because what a lot of business owners get confused. They think it's the corporation, the machine, or the firm or the whatever. They're not thinking in terms of people. It's people who put their pants on one leg at a time. Most of us, and so you don't realize you're dealing with people. And so how do you get them to like you is be cool and do cool things and good things. And so, and I'm 100% of the time, every client that we work with do cool things. The problem is they suck at bragging about themselves. I get that. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. So part of what we do is public relations. So if you sponsor a golf tournament, that's cool. Fine. We'll put that out there and say that's cool. But a lot of these big companies that we work with, and I know you work with some big national brands, they do some amazing things, and they hire these big public relations companies to say, hey, we just donated $1 million to Habitat for Humanity or for whatever. Well, local businesses do the same on a local level, but they're not telling anybody about it. And that's a great way to get them to like you, right? So let's say you do something for Humane Society. You donated or you helped, you volunteered. I'm posting that stuff. We, as an agency, we help them write a press release. We post it on social media. Hey, we're volunteering down here today. Because guess what? If I like the Humane Society, and let's say you're a car dealership, or it doesn't matter, you're a lawyer, you're a plumber, whatever, and I see you work with the Humane Society, and I enjoy that. Now we have a bond. So people do business with people, period, that they know, like, and trust. And the way you get them to like you is be human and be a cool guy. And like I said, more than likely you already are. You're just not telling anybody that. You're not marketing. You're not putting it out there. So I got to say something very cool. And it's an honor, again, to be on your podcast. But I know you are a veteran and you're a captain. I don't know if anybody calls you Captain Doug anymore. That's a big deal. And you have that on your website. So first thing we do is make it, like, if you are a veteran, I make them put that on the website. I'm like, you got to put that veteran on your website, or veteran, on the bottom. And because what happens if you're a veteran, I'm not even a veteran, but your stock goes up automatically when you have that logo, veteran owned, right? Just because of the respect that you get. But there's so many other ways you can do that. And this is how you get them to like you. Now, I have a book on this, and there's whole 2 chapters on just this very point, how to get them to like you, but I'll give you a couple more points on the website itself. So people do business with people they know, like, and trust. You did marketing to get them to your website. That's the landing page. The second most trafficked page, and I can prove this because I have hundreds of clients. Second or third, let me be careful. Second or third most trafficked page on any website is the About Us page. And they don't like what? You know why? Because people do business with people they like and trust. So they want to go see who you are as a person. And if that About Us page has like a half a paragraph and says, hey, we've been in business for whatever, you're doing the wrong things. You got to put your whole resume there. You got to say, I'm on the board of chamber of the BBB, the Better Business Bureau. I'm giving I volunteer for this. I'm in my church, all these things that will help you bond. I'm a veteran, all these things. So, because what's happening is they're trying to associate in 10 to 12 seconds or whatever, of whether or not they like you. And then once they feel like they're comfortable, then they'll go back to your homepage, look at your services and products. So again, if you're a lawyer, you're a plumber, it doesn't matter, hairdresser, they're doing this. I promise you, they're doing this on a local level. They're also doing it on a national level. It's not as intrinsic in a national level because obviously the corporate execs aren't really the ones you're going to be dealing with. But on a local level, you have to do these things to get them to like you and trust you. You got to put these trust factors on the site, and you have to put these trust factors in social media as well. And again, I think everybody's doing it. I believe most people are good people inertly. Most of these business owners are semi-successful already, but they're just not bragging about it or putting it out there. Because they don't have a public relations company that understands these things. So I'm just preaching from the highest mountain. Hey, you're doing cool stuff. Just tell people about it. And guess what? Your business will go up because they already know you, but they like you and trust you now. And they're going to go out of their way to do business with you specifically, personally.
Yeah.
So hope that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. And that's great. And I think that is so vitally important. The other keyword I picked up in your kind of intro thing is the word process. You said you interviewed a bunch of companies and looked at what made them successful. And what I heard you talking about is that what proved up it wasn't by accident or just by crazy hard work. The better companies, the more successful companies had a process they followed to get there. So did I read that right from you?
Yeah. And so I kind of already mentioned, but I'm going to go into two processes that go along the same lines. So the process is know, like, trust, try, buy, evangelize. And they don't use those words. Those are my words. I like the rhymes. And so they literally, every single one of them has a way to get more people to know them, grow their circle of influence, every one of them, right? So whether that's direct mail or outside sales, there's 112 ways of whatever you can do to get people to know you. Then every single one of them did what I said. They're like, all right, how do we get them to like and trust us now? A lot of it's trust factors, trust triggers, these things that they get and understand. They're either doing it unknowingly or knowingly. They're definitely doing it though. And the same thing with the like factor. Those things come hand in hand. Then they usually get them to try you. Now, some skip that step and they go straight to buy, but try means an entry level, like, hey, let me give you a coupon. Come try my restaurant. Try the apple pie later. And that's a try, and it's very smart. But the ones that do that, they know that if they're just trying it for the first time, you got to knock it out of the park because getting them to return is harder than ever, right? 50 years ago, they probably can't buy around you, right? If you're the only hair guy in town, hair salon, I'm just pulling it out there. If you're the only lawyer in town, they can't go anywhere else. Well, now they can go online in 100 different places or do nothing at all, which is usually the case. So because of the fact they can buy around you, you gotta do it right. And you gotta follow up. So you sometimes have to still, I know you know me, like you kind of trust me. Let me give you an opportunity to try my services out. Just try it, and then hopefully you can knock that out of the park, and then they'll buy it. And all these successful businesses have that in place, in a way or another. Like I said, some can skip the try part, but they'll go to the buy part. But then they get that's not the end of their deal. They want to take care of the customer, but they also, in the end, they want to somehow put it in front of them and say, hey, will you tell your friends about us? And that's a referral program of some sort, or, obviously testimonials and reviews are part of that, evangelize. But know, like, trust, try, buy, evangelize is the system. And you can't really skip a step. You can go fast through it. You can go, within minutes, you can go right through that. But you have to do those steps. And that's what they're doing. Hundreds of different businesses, we can break it down. Like I said, they don't use those words, but that's exactly what they're doing. The second part, I'll make this one quick. I write in a second book called The Prosper Formula. I got a quick one sheet just to throw it out here. And I love acronyms. I love, quick things. So the Prosper Formula is PROSPER. So all it is, and this is the other things that they're doing to be successful when they're looking at their numbers. And again, I'm a numbers guy. I hate accounting, but my accountant and I went through this because this is what I think that business coaches and consultants should be helping businesses with. So the P is prospects. Increase your prospects by 5%. Right? We're not talking. You don't need to double it. Just increase your prospects by 5%. Number 2 is your ratio of closed sales. What's your closing ratio? Doug, this is so elementary to you, but you'll get where I'm going with this because 95% of the businesses we work with aren't doing these things. They're just not. They're not paying attention to them. They're not KPIs or key performance indicators they're paying attention to. So your closing ratio, increase that by 5%. That goes straight to your bottom line. Number 3, order average. If you increase your average order by 5%, average order is 100. You make it 105. That 5% goes straight to your bottom line. You have $1 million business. That's $50,000 you net to your bottom line. That's the O. S is sales frequency. How often do they buy from me? And so I have conversations with dentists. They're like, oh, they're supposed to come every 6 months. Yeah, but do they? Well, I don't know. Well, when do they really come? I don't know. I've never tracked that. Okay, well, what if they're coming on average every 7 months, which is really, not every 6 months, because, sometimes things get pushed back or moved. And the truth is, it's worse than that. It's like it's over a year, because some people don't come but every couple of years, some in dentists. And, some of us, we're out of town when our dentist appointment happened, and like, I'm skipping that one, I'm going to come next time. Well, their average is actually like 14, 15 months when we figured it out. He was baffled. I said, what if we can get that to 13 months? You have 180 clients or, customers. What if we can get it to 13 months? That changes that 5%. That's all it was, is 5% goes straight to the bottom line, because their frequency of buying speeds up. The second P is in Prosper is productivity. Productivity, if you increase that by 5%, unbelievable things happen. And everybody's like, no, we're real efficient. Six Sigma, lean manufacturing. You and I both in 5 minutes can find a better way they can be more efficient. All of us in my business, I guarantee you sat in here, you find a way I'd be more efficient. It's just the way it is. And we're not talking crazy numbers. 5% more efficient goes straight to the bottom line, right? In expenses, in employees, all that stuff. Speaking of expenses, the E in Prosper is expenses. Decrease. This is the only thing we decrease. 5% in your expenses. That's easy. We call it a vendor audit. People pay for the crazy stuff. $37 a month this, $57 a month this. They're not even paying attention. You do a quick vendor audit, you could cut 5% like in an hour. And we do this all the time with our customers. And the last one's retention. My saying on this is retention is the new acquisition. Remember, I already said it earlier. In the old world, you can burn and churn numbers all the time. You can go get new customers. That's fine that they leave you, never come back because you got more customers. It doesn't work that way anymore. We got to keep them. And if we keep, the average attrition rate or churn rate is 25 to 30% in any industry. Some are way higher than others. But let's say a chiropractor, it's actually 35 to 40%. It's a very high churn rate because people, I guess, get fixed and they don't come back. But what if you went down to, instead of 35% churn rate or people that don't come back, you got it down to 30%, right? That all goes to your bottom line. So that's what I call the Prosper formula. These are very fundamental. And I know, speaking to you, you get this and know this. And but when you speak to a local business owner, and you look at what I call them SMBs or local small business, brick and mortar businesses, like kind of the examples I'm giving you, an ice cream shop, hair salon, lawyer, plumber, chiropractor, HVAC company. Now the big guys, right? I know you work with Exxon and Bank of America, these big guys, they get this. They have people working on each one of these, but the medium to small guys aren't paying attention to most of these. They maybe do the prospects, but the other formula. But in my mind, so you do 4 of these 7, you'll double your net profit. It's mathematically true, right? But the hard part is doing it. But if you do 5% in 4 of these 7s, you will double your net profit. So we just come in and help them do that. That's all.
It's great stuff. Having a formula or a guide or a checklist, or like I said, a fundamental process to get you there is very powerful. Well, we're up on a break right now, Eddie. We'll be right back after this message.
This program is being brought to you by Headway Exec, leadership coaching and business advisory services. Visit us on the web at headwayexec.com. Now, enjoy the rest of this episode.
Hello, everyone. We're back. I'm visiting with EddieHill. He's a guest coming to us from Florida. Eddie, I don't think I asked you the name of your company. Tell us that.
Well, I've said it a few times. I love the word prosper or prosperous. So all my companies are some form of prosper. So I have my internet marketing company is ProsperousiM or internet marketing, prosperous internet marketing. I have another company called Prosperous Christian, which is my Christian consulting group. My Prosper formula is the new book that's coming out. That's getting with small, medium businesses. We work with that as well. And then my wife and I own an award shop. It's called Award Masters. It's award, signs, banners, all that kind of stuff. So that's her gig. I try to help her, but I practice on them. So we're actually in the top 5% of the award shops in the nation because we do all these things. Now, of course, COVID hurt us a little bit, but we're building back fast.
Well, we will have a page at the end of the broadcast here where we'll have all that link information for everybody to share and take advantage of. This may be an incredibly obvious question, but how do you typically find your clients?
Well, speaking, and I in fact, I'll be in Vegas next month speaking to a bunch of small business owners. It's an association. So I get involved with a lot of associations. Once you speak for one association, the other one's like, hey, speak for them. So, for whether it's plumbing or, like I said, I speak for the awards association, but also, accounting, I've done chiropractors. I pretty much I'm on the board of the Better Business Bureau as well, and I speak regionally for a lot of them, and then of course chambers and stuff. So I really don't have any outreach. Back to the prospect thing, we do prospecting through that, and it's one of those things that they'll either get it or they don't on for me. And at the moment we got more business we can handle, so we're pretty much not aggressively going after it, but we're taking on a lot of new clients. So in my agency though, so that's my Prosper formula. In my agency, we have a very systematic way of we're growing, kind of similar though, because I'll speak at the trade associations as well about doing their marketing. And I do teach a lot of marketing. I know you on your podcast, you have a lot of marketing guests. I teach a lot of marketing stuff that, in the dancing bear on the stage is the one that knows. And, I'm not the smartest man in the room, but I do know a lot about marketing, what works, what doesn't. We prove it through results. We verify and guarantee results. And so I stand on stage, I tell them how to do it. I mean, I'm very open. I tell on my sleeve, and it overwhelms a lot of them. And they're like, "Hey, man, I don't want to do it." And they're like, "Can you do it for me?" I'm like, "Yep, we'll do it for you." So that's how we get leads.
Well, yeah, as a small business owner, and I've certainly, wrestled with this myself, the options seem overwhelming of where to go and what to do. You can get online and you can find a guru that'll tell you, oh, the only place to be is on Facebook. You need to run the Facebook ad campaign. Here's what you got to do, blah, blah, blah. Join my program for 10 grand and I'll show you how to do that. Or it'll be a LinkedIn guy, or it'll be Instagram or Pinterest, or, everybody's out hawking different approaches for growing a business on those social media channels. Yep. But the frequency that all of those platforms change their algorithms and their distribution of content, what do you typically tell people about where, what, and how they ought to be working social media?
Yeah, so I do love social media, but let me just kind of broaden that a little bit. Remember, I come from a traditional media background, from radio, and so I'm not against. And so for me, it's about return on investment. I own a call tracking company too. It's one of the fours, and call tracking means, so like if you're a lawyer, you verify results with how many appointments you set, right? So last month I had 12 appointments. This month I had 15. So we can verify if your marketing is working or not. And what's cool now, dynamically, this has only been around for a couple of years. And the old call tracking has been around since the 70s, but call tracking dynamically has only been around for a couple of years, meaning it will switch out online in the social medias or wherever you're doing your marketing. So you can see exactly where your leads are coming from. So if you're doing pay-per-click and you get that call, your website will dynamically switch the phone number out with the pay-per-click phone number. Same thing with Facebook ads. So if you're running Facebook ads, land on your page, they'll look around. Like I said, they're going to search, they're going to look at your About Us page. We're going to switch everywhere the phone number is to that social media phone number. So we know that they came in from social media. Or I love, of course, G&B, we do SEO and search engine optimization. Your Google My Business is a huge part for local SMBs to get business. In fact, over 50% of your leads will come from the Google Maps. And, I can prove that with 140 different clients. But so we're tracking that, and we have the numbers, and we can say, okay, you got 31 leads here, 51 leads here. And some of that can be radio and TV. We track all that too. And I have no problem with it if it's converting. I really don't. And I'll help you with it. All right. Well, we spent $1, you made $3. How many dollars you want to spend? Now there's ones that, you spend $1 and you get $10. And there's definitely ones you spend $1 and get 84 cents. That happens in Facebook ads a lot, right? But they're not tracking a lot of people. So we come in, we put these in place, and we're just, verifying results, and eyes open. Like you're spending 10 grand a month, and they didn't realize they're actually losing a little bit of money. When you subtract all your hard costs, small business owners, they're not dumb. Like I have hard costs, with, a hair salon, I got hard costs or whatever. If I'm a chiropractor, you think there's no hard costs. There's a lot of hard costs. So you have to subtract that out, add your expenses for advertising, and then see if you're making any money. And if you're not, you probably need to revisit what you're doing. But in general, I'm going to say this, all marketing works if you know what you're doing and you have the right message to the right match to the right person. So I'm not as concerned necessarily with the route, the conduit. I'm more concerned about are you tracking it, and are you getting conversions that is an ROI? That's not the case. Yeah. Most people don't track. Again, they're not numbers people. They don't want to track. That's too hard, difficult. Well, it's not that hard anymore. It's actually easier than ever to track all that.
Well, I was in a business meeting last week with a group of local leaders, and we were talking about marketing effort, and one of the guys reminded us all of the classic joke. Executive says, I spend $1 million on marketing. It's only 50% effective. The problem is I don't know which 50%.
That's exactly right. this takes that away. I mean, that excuse, I mean, I'm not going to say 100%, but I think, and I like the word definitive, and I can't say definitive online yet. If it's close, we can almost definitively know where that lead came from. And within a year or two, we will definitively know. It's all, I mean, your phone knows where you're at, and your phone, I mean, all these things are tracked now. It's unbelievable. So even if it's 80% of the time, you know where it came from, that's plenty enough to make decisions on, right? Marketing decisions of where you're going to put your money, where you're going to move your money. For me, it's about scale, right? I have dozens of lawyers and plumbers and HVAC guys. Like, I'm going to spend $1,000 a month on pay-per-click. Let's say it's pay-per-click. Okay, cool. So, all right, we got 7 appointments. Of these 7 appointments, you closed 5. Your average order was $506 or whatever. We know we work with those numbers. So at that point, all right, you closed 5 at $500. That's $2,500. You spent $1,000. Do you want to do more? And they're like, yeah. Next month, let's do $2,000. So almost all the time, they will up their budget. I don't ask them; they just tell me. All right, let's grow this company. If you want to grow the company, then this is how you definitively know how much it costs to get a lead and make sure you're making money. Like I said, they have to subtract all their hard costs too. So I don't want to, I didn't do that just there. So when you subtract the hard costs, you're still making money. And so let's do 2,000, let's do 5. And a lot of them go 10, 15, 20,000 a month. And there's a point of diminishing returns. And I'm trying to make everything simplified because I'm a simple guy, but there's a point, there's some issues, where you maximized it, but then you move on to the next concept. That's all we're doing. But most people aren't tracking that. And that's our problem. So that's why, you can, though. It's not that hard to do. I mean, you don't need an outside agency for sure to do that, but you should be tracking your marketing. And the words 50% of my advertising works. I just don't know which 50%. I understand that the guy who wrote that he sold to Macy's. He owned a bunch of stores. I can't remember. It's in my book actually. Which is, I get it. In 1912 when he wrote that, not true today. Not true today.
One big question I run into when I work with small business clients is when you start talking about marketing, you have to visit the question of how do you differentiate yourself? Because using your examples, if you're a hair salon or a car repair shop or a flower shop or, whatever there might be out there, obviously, look in the old-fashioned phone book, there's a bunch of those in most places. So how do you really differentiate? What's the hook that really can stand out and get people's attention? How do you try to address that when you talk to a small business owner?
I agree. I think that's probably one of the most difficult things we do as marketers is kind of come up with uniqueness. So in the olden days when I was on radio, we called it unique selling proposition or USP. And I don't know, you probably heard that. And which is very legitimate and true. And if you can do that, that's fantastic. And so I still believe in that. So I want to set that aside. 100%, if you can somehow be unique. And so part of it is packaging. Part of it's delivery. Your product's going to be the same. If you sell ice creams, I guess my wife would say there's different ice cream, but so maybe I'm wrong. Let's do like a hair salon. So, I don't know any difference, but this lady down there. So the way you deliver it can change everything. So let's talk about sports clips, right? It's just a hair salon, but they deliver it with, different ways. So sports and stuff, they give me massages. So they change the concept. So the unique selling proposition is we're just a hair salon, but we do it in a very cool way for guys not to, feel uncool. Let's go back to an ice cream shop. So the Marble Slab Creamery, they're just an ice cream shop, but they put it on frozen marble slab and they deliver it differently. So sometimes you got to think that way. And so if you're a small business, I would be thinking about my package. I'm a chiropractor. We all do the basic same things, but can I deliver it or can I package it or can I present it different than anybody else? Now that is not an easy, brainstorming idea, but we try to do that. But I'll be brutally honest with you, Doug. Most of our clients don't have a USP. They're selling the same stuff as everybody else, right? So my personal injury lawyers they do personal injury just like everybody else, and there's really no USP on it. However, with marketing, if we get aggressive enough, and so in my mind, the person that's able to spend the most money on marketing wins, period. And what I mean by that, there's still enough business for everybody else. Like you're never going to get it all, but if you know that you're spending $1 to make $2, but your competitor doesn't really know. He's spending $1 and doesn't really know what's coming out, or maybe it's not optimized, not paying attention. You can spend more dollars, outspend them. And that changes your whole business plan with your number of leads. It really doesn't matter against anybody else, right? They're going to get their own leads, their own way, referrals, all that stuff. But you just focus on your own business. So that's basically what we do. Mostly, we still try to do the USP thing because it does help with conversions. I mean, back to the conversion on the website, there's lots of things we can do with help with that. But in the end, we just want to make sure they like you and trust you. And a lot of people have unique personalities. We can promote that. A lot of people have a unique angle. We can promote that. But it's hard. It's harder than, let's get a USB. That sounds good, but that's not very easy to do. I'm just being brutally honest. But we can still dramatically grow your business once we know our metrics, right? It costs you $1 to get $50 to get a lead. How many leads do you want?
Well, what you just said strikes me. What it makes me think of is spending part of your marketing dollars on proper SEO so that you can climb up the ranking pages on Google. Mm-hmm. Because if the classic buyer is just starting to Google something and you don't show up for 15 pages, you're not going to be seen.
Nope. And they say, that's where you hide the dead bodies on Google on page 3.
Right. And on the other hand, if you've done the investment for that, you might not, I don't want to say this is an absolute, but you might not have to spend as much time on that unique selling proposition statement. You just simply have to show up and be the guy that's on the top 5 list on that page. And because they might be willing to call 5 different shops to get an answer, or 3 shops or whatever. But if you're not on that list, you're not going to make it.
You're exactly right. So I don't want to get too much in the trenches, but I gotta say this because you're hitting on something very, very relevant to what I do. You've probably taken a personality test like DISC or some of these other personality tests. Well, I believe, and we can prove this with customers as well. There's 4 different types of people in general that you can divide into 8 more groups. So whatever, 12. But so there, of the 4 different types of people, one, I use the bird. So eagle is the ones that hit hard and fast. They're the alpha males and females. They make decisions fast. Those ones will do exactly what you said. They're going to Google plumber, Pensacola, Florida, and bam, they're going to pick one of the top 2 or 3. And I need a plumber here right now. However, the other 3 don't do that. They're going to research a little bit. So you got an owl. Those are the wise people. Those are going to research. Those are the ones that see the terms of service, right? The owl, the dove, lovey-dovey. They're emotional. They want to see who you are, what you've done in the community. This is what I was talking about, back to the like and trust. So you have to build those on your website as well. And then the parrot's loud, obnoxious, like me, colorful. Parrot wants to be heard. So they probably want to get on the phone, or they want to have a chat. So you need to cater all 4 when you're doing your marketing. And we think that through. So we make sure on the websites and also on all their online assets, we have all 4 of those elements on there to talk to all 4 different types of people. But Google Maps, hands down, and I can prove this statistically, is going to be your number one for a local SMB. And I'm talking regional or national companies, these big companies, where by far, hands down, going to be your number one way of getting leads is Google My Business, the maps, right? So they're going to Google a local thing, pizza near me, whatever that term is how you're going to get majority of your leads. Just in the old days it was Yellow Pages, it's a directory. Nowadays it's the 3-pack on Maps, which is a directory. And if you're not, like I said, if you're not there, I agree. It's going to hurt a big. Now you can still win in business, but it's a long-term play too. Once you get there, you can build it, Money Mountain. Hopefully it'll stay there for a while, but it's definitely worth your time to go do it. And you don't need an agency like me to do it. But you can start building your online authority and get up on the maps. So yeah, I'm glad you brought it up because I firmly believe in it.
Well, Eddie, thank you very much. We've actually kind of run up on time for this episode, but great information, very power packed. Like I said, just in a minute here, we're going to pop up a panel with all your link information, and we'll share that with everybody. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Doug, and I truly appreciate your time. And what an honor to be with you. I'll call you Captain Doug. So that's a great title, and you earned it. There's nothing easy about that. So congratulations. Well,
I appreciate it. I'm reminded of the line out of the new series 1883. The old guy, Tim McGraw's character, says to the other guy, "They still call you Captain, but I was a captain too, and I stopped being called that after the war was over."
The war was over. That's a great show, actually.
But no, thank you. I appreciate that. And it's again, Eddie, it's been a pleasure having you here. And I'm going to tell everyone, thank you for listening. We'll be back in our next episode. Just pay attention on our website, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks, everybody.
You've been listening to Leadership Powered by Common Sense, hosted by Doug Thorpe. If you would like to know more about the coaching and advisory services he provides, visit dougthorpe.com.